Good afternoon. My name is Nikki Soda, and I am the Membership and Advocacy Officer for the National Association of Addiction Treatment Providers. And I have the great pleasure of having Zach Snitzer with me, who is co-founder and the Corporate Director of Marketing for MARC, which stands for the Maryland Addiction Recovery Center. And Zach, you have been with MARC for 7 years since its inception as a co-founder. So I was hoping that we could start by you giving us a brief overview of the services and kind of your mission statement and what you guys stand for.
We have a couple of different programs, intensive outpatient programs for like the local Baltimore County and surrounding Maryland communities. But our more, our flagship program, as it were, is a long-term extended care program. So we are traditionally like the next step for a patient, ideally from a 28, day program, and they come to us for a minimum of 90 days. Most patients stay, on average, about 7 months, some longer if they kind of stay in the local area. And it's really a community reintegration model of care to campus model, where we're looking at addiction as a chronic illness. We're looking at all facets of a patient's life, clinically, socially, working with the family, working with them, whether it's to re-engage in higher education or re-engage in a career, and slowly step them through that process, that continuum of care. And ideally, what we hope is that MARC is, for patients that come to us, the last treatment experience that they'll need.
Well, I know firsthand, Zach, a handful of people who have successfully completed your program and have had not only glowing reviews, but have really thrived in recovery. So I've seen firsthand the nice results that come out of your program. You have an interesting program, though. You guys opened a detox on March 16th, which you launched it, which I have that date embedded in my brain because I know that that's the day that the world that I live in was temporarily closed. So I was hoping that maybe you could talk a little bit about the benefit to the community that facility offered, and maybe just some of the ways that COVID has impacted you and the leap of faith that you took opening something during that time.
I can tell you that it was several years in the planning stages for Inova. It's based in Adams County, Pennsylvania, so it's like South Central. It's right up, I'd say probably 10 to 15 minutes over the Maryland-Pennsylvania state line. And it was really meant to fill a need for this standalone, 5, 10, maybe 12 days of detox and medical stabilization. Because we all know that not everyone, there's this ideal continuum of care for addiction treatment, right? It's detox and stabilization, residential, extended care, PHP, IOP, and so forth. But then we also do a lot of talking about individualized care, right? Individualized treatment. And the truth is that ideal continuum is not necessarily right for everyone, or not everyone can really access it. Whether it's like a single parent or someone that can't go away for, maybe they can go away for 30 days for a residential program, but certainly not longer than that. But most people, their front door into treatment is through detox and stabilization. So us and a lot of other organizations that we work closely with really saw this standalone service as a need in like the mid-Atlantic area, like the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Jersey, because there are some, but there's not a huge amount, and there's clearly a need. So we were planning it for 2 years. We were doing construction on the facility, and then COVID hit, so that was fun. So we were already committed, and we opened up March 16th. But it's been a really good service for the community. We were able to. One of the really good things was, as other facilities, we were talking about it before, but a lot of organizations that we work really closely with, Ashley Addiction Treatment, Caron Treatment Centers, and other residentials, as they had to, in the beginning of COVID, kind of downsize their census and their ability to admit patients, Inova as a standalone was really able to step in and partner with them and their admission staff, or our admission staff, and really be that front door, that detox piece of residential. So those patients weren't kind of floundering in the wind or just going wherever. So that was a really, really good partnership that we were able to do. And it really kind of filled that need. And then it's, you just get you get the patients that are so used to, as we all know, the revolving door of detox. I don't need treatment. I just need to get off the substance. Like part of our mission statement is we are not that type of detox, right? Our staff there, our medical staff, our clinical staff is really there to challenge patients and get them to the next appropriate step, which they've been really successful at. So we've had for 1 year, March 16th to March 16th, we had 567 patients admit, including all patients, anyone that left after day or AMA or so forth. Over 84% were able to accept clinical aftercare recommendations from the staff de novo and then admit to those levels of care, which were, detox, res, extended care, PHP, IOP, individual therapy, recovery house, whatever that appropriate next step for them was. So we were really happy with that also, because it's meant there to be that front door, but really push the patients to get what they need afterwards, and not just say, all right, I'm free of substances, right, I'm good to go. And then they call, 2 weeks, or hopefully with everything going on, they go, 3 weeks or a month or 2 months later. We want to get them to that next appropriate step. So
that's fantastic. And those numbers are extremely impressive. Even in a regular year, Zach, those would be impressive. But coming out of this year, I think that's definitely worth a pat on the back. What would you say is MARC's greatest achievement over this past year?
I mean, there's a ton of articles, there's a ton of studies out there that are saying how much, the general population is being impacted and how COVID has exacerbated the mental health and addiction crisis. We've seen that. Here at MARC, our census consistently over the last year has been higher than it's ever been. We're seeing the same type of patients that traditionally call, but we're seeing a lot more of the ones that literally are calling treatment for the first time, that are, in their 40s and 50s and saying, I've never had an issue with substances, right? There may have been some substance use, but it was, controlled, or it was normalized. And whether it's the benzodiazepines or the alcohol, like those numbers, we're seeing a lot of it. And we're happy that we've been able to stay open, stay successful, admit those patients. So we're seeing that. I'd say the biggest contribution is that. And then we've done some internal and external stuff. I'd say internally, obviously during 2020, there was the social upheaval with George Floyd and so forth. So we've done, our clinical director, Dr. Jen Richards, she reached out and created a partnership with the Black Mental Health Alliance. And we've created a social justice committee for our internal staff. So we've done some trainings and continuing education and resources, and trying to open up for our staff individually, both professionally and personally, taking that on and seeing where we can be a bigger player in social equality. And then externally, we've done a lot, the last couple months, we've done a lot of outreach, a lot of education to local businesses to kind of help them with employees that are dealing with, the fallouts of COVID, addiction, and mental health. So we've done recently some stuff with Stevenson University, which is local here. We've just joined a local organization that has a couple hundred small to mid-sized businesses in the Baltimore and metropolitan Baltimore area, and working with them to educate their leadership, their ownership, their HR staff, so what they can do to be more recovery ready.
Zach, it's wonderful to hear about the great work that you guys, it sounds like you have absolutely stepped up to the plate too during this really challenging time. So you are a gem to your community.
Thank you, though. It's been, I think everyone in this space, right? It's been a very trying year, and, I applaud all the NAATP members and the other behavioral health organizations nationwide for stepping up, because it really is. It's the epidemic with the pandemic, and we're seeing both of it. And it's been challenging, but it's also, we've seen a lot of success for those that are seeking help. So we're
For
happy
sure.
to play a small part in it.
And I think it speaks volumes too, to see those that have risen up, because when crises happen, right, you sink or you swim, and you guys have without a doubt shown that you're swimming. So Zach, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And we'll have all of your contact information in the notes of this video.